Video we're gonna learn about manipulating the DOM. So we're gonna learn how do you add an element to the DOM, how do you remove an element, how do you clone an element, blah blah blah. So let's get started. So as usual, we have our HTML file. It has the div, which has section 1, we have section 2, section 3, and every section has pretty much h4 and then two paragraphs. So let's get started. So the first question would be like, let's say we want to insert a paragraph after here. So we want to add one paragraph to this section, right? The first section, the green one. So to do that, we need to create a new element, right? So I want to call it B. So let's just say B is equal to document. Remember, it's document, right? It's DOM, document object model. So everything we do here is going to start with document. So now we have this method called create element, which is pretty obvious. It creates elements. So now you select what kind of element you want to create. So I want to create B, right? So you say I want to create paragraph. So now we create a paragraph. If I just show you the B is just paragraph. So let me add that. To add B to something, you need to select it wherever you want to add it. So I want to add it, I want to make it a child, right? I want to add it here. I want to add it right here. So that means it needs to be a child of this div, which is section 1. So I need to get the div and add it as the last child. So to do that, I would be like section 1. So now we have section 1 here, which is the green section. And now I could just say section 1 dot append child. So append child is another method that tags the child, which is our case is B. So it would add it to the end. So it actually added to the end. So if you do that, you see, it's like you don't see there's no text in here, but you can see that. And if you actually go the elements here, and if you go here and you open up section 1, you can see right here. So we added it. It doesn't have any text in it. So let's create another paragraph that actually have a section. So we're gonna call it B2. So I'll call it B2, and it's gonna be, we're gonna create a B, right? Now B2, you want to add a text, so you actually use text content to add a text. I am the new B, okay? New B, get that? New B? Okay, just joking. Okay, cool. So we have B2 here, right here. So now we don't just have paragraph before, but we have a paragraph that has text in it. So now let's add it as the last child of section 1. So section 1 dot append child, and then what do we call it? B2. Yep, that is pretty obvious. Boom, it's right here. I'm new B. So that is our first. So ladies and gentlemen, we just did that. We just added something to the DOM without writing HTML. Boom. We didn't write any explicit HTML. Let's just say that we did it using JavaScript. Amazing, right? Now there's something that I want to do. I want to make a paragraph that is the first child of this section. So it needs to go before the header, right? Like the header h4 is the first child. I want to create a B that goes here. So how do I do that? I don't know. Actually, let me create h1, right? That's kind of bigger. So let's create that. Okay, so let's create const. I'm creating h1, so I'm just gonna call it h1, and then document dot create elements by id. What are we creating? You guessed it, h1. So now I have h1, but if I just say h1, it's empty, so I need to give it text. Now I could use like inner HTML to assign the text, but don't use that. That is very susceptible to cross-site scripting, which is a hacking technique. So you can always just use text content. That's safer. So I am the real header of section 1. Okay, number 1. Okay, great. Now we want to make this the first child, so we want to make this before that. So how do we do that? Now there's this method called insert before. So you can select the parent and you say insert this before something else, and we want to insert it before the h4 as you guessed it. So what we need to do is we need to get the 4 so we can insert it before it. So let's do that. we have h1, so I'm just gonna erase this. We still keep it in the memory, so it's not deleted. So const h4, I want to get h4, so I want to get it by tag name, element by tag name. But if you remember, tag name returns, I'm using the section so I already have the section property, so why not just call the get element of the section instead of the document, right? Okay, great. So now this return is a collection. I want to get the first one because we only have one, right? So that's the only valid one anyway. So that gives us our correct h4, because if I write it, I am section 1 header, that would be like here, I am section 1 header. So now we're gonna call, we're gonna do section, what do we call it ours? Section 1. Yeah, section 1, and then you can say we have this one called insert. It is called insert before. So you're gonna say, I can't spell today, guys and gentlemen. Okay, okay, come on, stop messing with me. So insert before, boom. Okay, so we can insert before something. So whatever goes first, we want h1 to go first and we want h4 to go second, right? Because we're inserting h1 before the h4. Let me run this. Whoa, you see this? I am the real header now. I am the captain now. So we did that. We just put this before this. Amazing, absolutely amazing. What if we want to enter something, I don't know, above here, after? This is fun. We do not have insert after. It's weird. We have insert before, right? We have insert before like we just did right here, but we do not have insert after, right? We don't have insert after. We don't have. I think the person who wrote this was high when they did that. It's like, what is wrong with you? Like, it's so simple. It's right there, and you just didn't add to it. Never mind. Thank you for at least giving us the first one. Okay, so if you want to add something before, after something else, you actually need to get that. Like, let's say I want to add this after the here. So instead of insert before, I want to make it insert after. So what I need to do is I would need to get header, like I have it already, right? And then I would need to get the next element, and then I would say like add before next element. You kind of see that? So let me actually do that. Let me actually pretty fast. I already had it for. I could, like, we already added here. We can add it again because we have it right here. So let me actually do that. So I want to add this after this. So I want to add it before that. So I need to get that paragraph. So const, I think, do we have B? I don't have B3. Okay, call it B section 1. There we go. And I'm going to get H4, okay, which is right here, and I want to get the next sibling. So next element sibling. Now I am here, so now I could just say insert before. You get it? So let's try that. Section 1, nope, section 1 dot insert before. And now, as you guys did, I want to insert the h1 because you can, like, we already have h1 there, so you can insert. We already inserted one of them. Since we have in the memory, you can insert anywhere we want. And I want to insert B section 1. So if I done that, now you see it moved. Now we inserted it right here. So we actually inserted it after this without necessarily using insert after. It's just pretty cool. And you get to see it move. So if you change the location of like a paragraph or element, it actually changes in the order in the document, which is pretty cool. Now I want to remove that. That's kind of sad, right? But I want to remove this. So how do you remove that? It's pretty easy. You can say remove child. So again, I want to go to section 1, which is the parent, and you can say remove. Come on, man, give me that. Okay. Anyway, you say remove child, and if I say h1, let's run this, it's deleted. So we just deleted h1. So you could do that remove child, and there is a new way of doing it which I really like, which you don't necessarily need to know the parent. So I want to erase something else. I have access to the parent, right? Like I have access to that paragraph. So right now I already knew section. I already knew the parent of the h1 because I just added it. That's why I was able to do so easily. What if I didn't know the parent, right? What if I just had, let's say, I think I have like this one, right? I have this paragraph right there. Let's say I didn't know the parent. So if I didn't know the parent, how do I delete it? There's two ways to do that. I'm gonna show you the first one. So the first one to do that is, as you make like normally deduce it, I could go to the parent, right? Now I am at the parent. So now since I'm at the parent, it's like I'm already there. So I could just say remove child. And then I would pass p section 1. Now I'm gonna run this. It's deleted, but it's pretty fun, right? Like you have to use b1 twice to get to the parent, and here we are at the parent level, and then the parent wants to remove, and the parent removes a child, which is happens to be the child that we use to get to the parent. So it's like digging your own grave kind of thing. Okay, great. So this is one way of doing it. There is a super easier way that is doing it that I'm gonna use. So we have access to h4, right there. We already got access to that. Now I wanna delete this, but I don't want to go to the parent to delete it. You know, I don't feel like this. Let's say I didn't feel like this, and this is the new way of doing it that I actually use most of the time. You can just call it remove. Let's try this. Boom, it works. So you might be saying, Nasser, wait a minute, why would you show me this and wasting my time instead of just showing me this easier way? Because this is a new version, there is a lot of code that's written this fashion, where you get to the parent and remove the child. So if you come across that, I don't want you freaking out, right? I want you to be happy while you're here, at least. So you might use this most of the time. Just go to the element and remove it. And if you actually look at the code, this is what they use. They literally they do this, but they made it easy for you, so you just call it one very simple method. Yeah, we have a remove child. So to kind of cover everything we've learned, let me just say, so you use document that create element, like paragraph or whatever, to create an element. So that's how you create an element, right? You insert something. So if I have paragraph, I would use text content, and then I would insert the text. That's second. You could also do, you might see in some code bases, or you can do like inner HTML, but that is, and then blah blah. But you shouldn't use this because it's susceptible to cross-site scripting hacking techniques. So if you see this in your code base, just change it. It's like very quick, and to make it safe, that's one of them. We learned insert before, so you could have like let me just say, you could have parent dot inserted before, and then new paragraph goes there, and then all the paragraph goes there. So you are inserting this before the other one. It's kind of fun because it actually shows you inserting it before right here. It's pretty fun. I like that. Now, unfortunately, there is no insert after, right? There is no insert after. We don't have insert after. So what you need to do is you would get access to like next sibling, right? You would get access to the next sibling. So let's say we have alt b. You say alt b next element sibling. Now you get the next element. So now you could do the parent, right? That inserted before, but instead of all, now you use the next sibling. And next sibling works even if it is like, if it's null, the code would just be null. So this is how you do insert after, like kind of combining these two techniques of getting next element and saying inserting before. And we also learned there is 3 ways of removing it, right? Removing. We learned there is 3 ways of doing it. The first way of doing it is just parent dot remove child, and then you just pass the child that you want to remove, right? This one works when you know the child and you know the parent, okay? The second technique is when you don't know the parent. So you say child dot parent element. So you use the child to get to the parent, and now we're here. So now you can just start from there to say remove child, and then you pass the child. So here we use the child twice. One to pass it to the method so the parent could remove it, and then we use it to get it to the parent in the first place. And the third technique, which is super easy and I use most of the time. It's just child.remove. And okay, but yeah, it's like that. Child does remove and that removes. So those are pretty much how do you add, where do you insert, and you can also insert after, right? Instead of inserting before, if you just say parent, let's say parent append child. If you just want to add at the end, you can just say append child, and then you pass the new child. Boom. Append basically adds to the end of it. That's great. Now sometimes you want to clone something, right? Let's say I want to clone section 2. I want to clone the whole section. So I would be like clone section 2. I actually need to get section 2 first so I can clone it. So I want to section 2. Boom. I could use the ID to get to section 2. Now I have section 2. So clone section 2. So S2 stands for section 2. Okay, now what I could do is I could do section 2. Let's just try clone node. And then if I just, now you could pass a flag. So let me just pass false. Now if I run clone S2, if you could see it, it's an empty div. So I wanted to clone this section. I didn't clone the children. I only cloned the div itself. So if I add it to the body, so I could actually get the body. So const get the body moment. Boom, I get the body by using tag name and the first index. So now I could say body.append, say append child. I want to add it to the end of the body, and I want to add it clone to. So if I run this, you see right there, this one is right here. We added it. So if I go here and I go to the body, section 3, like before here, yeah, it's right here. Not there, but after that, actually it's kind of hard to see. But if I hover of it, you see right there, you see the hover, it says section 2. So we actually added right there. But since the div is empty, there is nothing. It doesn't show anything. But I want to copy this, right? So what I'm going to do is I want to refresh this. So now I need, instead of just copying the div, I need to copy the children too. So not just the div, but also I want to copy the children. So I want to copy the whole thing, or clone, right? So section, what was it, 2? So section 2 const clone 2, and then I want to do section, section 2 dot clone node. But now I pass through. So the difference between cloning, let me actually do this. So just do clone 2. If I run clone 2, you see I don't only have the end, but I have the children too. So I have pretty much the whole thing. If I pass through, if I say const clone, let's call it shallow clone. That term and shallow. Okay, is it 2L? I think it's that. It's just used it. Okay, so shallow clone. And we have section 2 dot clone node pass false. So if I do the shallow now, I think shallow has 2 L's. Anyway, okay, now you see the difference, right? If you pass false, you only clone the div, you don't clone the children. If you say true, you clone the children. That's why we have the children here. So this is a shallow clone, this is a deep clone. Think of it like that. And I don't know if you remember that, but if like here it says deep, you see, it means it's deep. Do you want to clone the deep version of it where you clone the children included, or do you want to clone the shallow version of it? And if you don't pass anything, let's see what happens. And I want to just say idk, because I don't know clone. If I run that and I run idk, you see it's a shallow. So normally it's shallow, it's not deep. You can say false, or you can just not pass anything. But if you pass true, it would be deep, it would clone, literal clone. Anyway, too much talking. So now we have our clone, right? So if I say clone 2, I think, clone 2 is the deep clone where we have everything. Now we can add it. So we literally create a clone of this and put it after that. So I want to get the body. So I have the body, and then body.append child. And then I want to do the clone 2. If I run that, you see we copied it. So it's right here. We created a clone of this and we put it here. That's the last one that I was going to show you. Yeah, that's it for today. And to kind of refresh the last section of it, call it like cloning. There is two way of cloning, right? So you say basically element dot clone node clone. I think it's clone node. Yeah. So you pass true. So true means clone children too, right? You clone the children too. It's like deep clone, right? It's deep. And if you just say element, just say this one. But if you just say element clone, and you have two choices, right? Either you just don't pass anything, or you say element, right? Element clone node. Let's see, node false. This would be shallow, right? That would be shallow. So if you don't pass anything or you pass false, that is a shallow cloning, and shallow cloning means no children cloned for you. Yeah, that's it for today. I hope that helps. I know this video was very, very dense. We covered a lot of things. So if you didn't understand very well, I would highly suggest just watching it and trying to do yourself one thing at a time. And yeah, it's on YouTube, so watch as much as you like. See you in the next video. Bye bye.